every single night, while millions of people over 50 are peacefully drifting off to sleep, something terrifying may be quietly happening inside their bodies. Their blood pressure is spiking, their arteries are constricting, and in some cases, blood clots are forming without a single warning sign. Then, sometime around 2 or 3 in the morning, the unthinkable happens: a stroke, silently, in the middle of the night. It's not a coincidence. Doctors around the world are starting to pay closer attention to the hidden triggers behind this frightening trend, and one of the most overlooked culprits: the food you eat right before bed. That's right, certain foods, even ones you think are harmless, could be pushing your body toward a dangerous state while you sleep. Especially after the age of 50, your metabolism changes. Your blood vessels become more sensitive, and your heart works harder to keep balance. What you eat in the evening hours can either support your health or become the silent fuel behind a stroke waiting to happen. In this video, we're going to reveal the most dangerous nighttime foods that should never be on your plate after sunset. Welcome to Clean and Green Tips, where we bring you science-based wellness advice to help you feel stronger, think sharper, and age with power and confidence. If you want to keep your brain and body healthy naturally, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a tip that could truly make a difference. Now, let's get into the first major offender. It's something almost everyone has in there: fridge-processed meats. Yes, that late-night ham sandwich, the slice of pepperoni, or even the turkey roll-up that feels light and protein-packed. It might actually be harming your arteries as you sleep. Here's why. Processed meats are filled with sodium, nitrates, and harmful preservatives. The salt alone is enough to increase your blood pressure significantly, especially in the hours following your meal. Add to that the inflammatory compounds from preservatives, and you've got a perfect storm for damaging your blood vessels over time. But the real danger is when you're asleep. Your body is trying to rest and repair, but instead, it's forced to deal with a flood of sodium, straining your heart and keeping your blood pressure elevated all night long. And since nighttime blood pressure is supposed to drop to give your cardiovascular system a break, this reversal is dangerous. Studies have shown that people who consume processed meats regularly are at significantly higher risk for heart disease and stroke, especially if eaten at dinner or later. The second food is just as sneaky. It's popular in many homes because it's quick, cheap, and easy to prepare. We're talking about instant noodles and other packaged meals. Maybe it's a warm cup of noodles before bed. Maybe it's a quick microwavable tray that feels comforting. But what you're really consuming is a bomb of sodium, preservatives, and empty starches. These meals are notorious for causing spikes in blood sugar, followed by sudden crashes. Your pancreas and liver are left scrambling to handle the sugar load, while your heart works overtime to pump thicker, stickier blood through your system. All this happens while you sleep. The sodium levels in just one serving of instant noodles can exceed your daily recommended intake, and when your body is lying down, digestion slows. So instead of processing those ingredients efficiently, your system is overwhelmed for hours, putting more pressure on your blood vessels and increasing the risk of clotting. This is particularly dangerous for adults with high blood pressure, diabetes, or any history of cardiovascular issues. 3. Conditions that become far more common after 50. It's also worth noting that many people turn to these foods because they're convenient. You're tired, it's late, and a little snack feels harmless. But if your go-to evening bite falls into either of these two categories, processed meats or salty packaged meals, you may be unknowingly raising your stroke risk night after night. These aren't just small decisions. Over time, they build up, arteries harden, blood becomes thicker, and the chances of a nighttime stroke become all too real. Let me ask you something, do you ever feel unusually groggy in the morning, even after a full night's sleep? Have you ever woken up with a strange headache or tightness in your chest? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be your body's early warning system. If you've experienced anything like that, drop a comment and share. Your experience could help someone else recognize the same signs before it's too late. We've only scratched the surface. Some of the most dangerous evening foods are still to-come foods that are often marketed as healthy or even designed for weight loss. Now, if those first two foods surprised you, get ready, because the next two are ones many people believe are actually helping them sleep better or stay healthy. But the science says otherwise. In fact, they may be quietly increasing your risk of a stroke during the night. Number 3, cheese and other full-fat dairy products. That evening slice of cheese, that glass of warm whole milk, or even a creamy dessert with dairy in it. These foods might seem comforting, even soothing, but if you're over 50, they may be doing more harm than good. Dairy products that are high in saturated fat can contribute to the buildup of plaque in your arteries. Over time, that buildup narrows the space where blood can flow, making it easier for clots to form. This becomes especially dangerous at night when blood pressure naturally dips and your heart slows down. If your arteries are already narrowed, reduced blood flow can increase the chance of an ischemic stroke, where a blockage cuts off blood to part of the brain. Cheese, in particular, is a major offender. Not only does it contain saturated fat, but it's also extremely high in sodium. Some aged cheeses have more salt than a serving of chips. Eating it late at night places extra strain on your blood vessels, just when they're supposed to be relaxing. It also impacts your sleep. The casein in dairy can interfere with digestion during rest, and some people experience disrupted sleep or even slight increases in blood pressure due to poor overnight metabolism. If cheese has been your go-to evening snack, it might be time to think twice, especially if you already have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, or a family history of stroke. Number 4, healthy cereals and so-called diet bars. These might come in a colorful box that says high fiber, heart healthy, or low fat. But when you look closer, they're often packed with sugar, artificial flavorings, and refined grains. Many people over 50 reach for these at night because they seem light and easy to digest, but here's what really happens. That sugar spike gives you a false sense of energy just before bed. Then, a few hours later, your blood sugar crashes. This crash can disrupt your sleep, trigger the release of stress hormones like cortisol, and even cause your blood pressure to fluctuate in the early morning hours, exactly when many strokes occur. Even worse, these foods don't keep you full, so you might end up waking during the night feeling hungry or even reaching for another snack. This cycle leads to poor sleep quality, elevated insulin levels, and long-term inflammation throughout the body. And chronic inflammation is one of the major contributors to blood vessel damage and plaque formation. You might think, but it's just cereal, or it's only a bar. But over time, those small choices become habits, and habits shape your health far more than you realize, especially when your body is trying to heal and reset during sleep. So far, we've talked about processed meats, instant noodles, cheese, and dairy, and now sugar-laced diets, snacks, and cereals. Do you see a pattern? Most of these foods are highly processed, rich in sodium or sugar, and very common in the average household. And that's exactly what makes them so dangerous, because they feel familiar, comfortable, safe, but they're not. Let me ask you this. Do you check the sodium or sugar content on the foods you eat at night? Have you ever thought about how your body processes food differently while you sleep? Share your thoughts in the comments. You might help someone else take a closer look at their own habits. What we eat after sunset matters more than most people think. At night, your body's natural healing systems are working hard to detoxify, to restore, and to lower inflammation. But when the wrong foods are introduced late in the day, those systems get interrupted. Blood becomes thicker, pressure rises, arteries stay inflamed, and that increases the risk of vascular events, especially for people in their 50s, 60s, and beyond. And yet, we still have one more food to discuss. A food that's often seen as innocent, sometimes even good for sleep, but that may be the most deceptive of them all. Now, let's talk about the 5th and final food. This one is often thought of as gentle, even relaxing. Many people over 50 have made it part of their nighttime routine, but it can actually be one of the most misleading and dangerous choices you can make before bed. Number 5, a glass of wine or alcohol of any kind. Yes, even that so-called heart-healthy red wine. Many believe that a little alcohol helps them unwind, fall asleep faster, or relieve stress. And while it might make you feel drowsy at first, what it actually does inside your body is far more complicated and potentially harmful. Here's what really happens when you drink alcohol before bed. First, it interferes with your sleep cycles. While you may fall asleep faster, alcohol disrupts your REM sleep, the deep, restorative phase your brain needs. That means your brain doesn't fully recharge. And fragmented sleep can increase morning blood pressure, stress hormones, and inflammation, all of which increase stroke risk. But more importantly, alcohol affects your blood vessels. It causes them to temporarily dilate, then rebound and constrict hours later. That rebound effect can lead to a spike in blood pressure just before you wake up, a known danger zone for strokes and heart attacks. Alcohol also thins the blood in ways that, when combined with high cholesterol or plaque, can increase the risk of a clot breaking free and traveling to the brain. And even moderate amounts, one drink in, have these effects in people over 50. It gets worse when alcohol is combined with the other foods we've mentioned. For example, a glass of wine with cheese or alcohol with processed meat. These combinations magnify the impact on your cardiovascular system and place even more pressure on your arteries at the worst possible time when your body is trying to rest and recover. Some people believe that just because they've always had a drink at night and never had an issue, it must be fine. But that's the silent danger of stroke. There are often no symptoms or early warnings. Damage builds slowly, day by day, until one night it's too late. That's why making even one change, like cutting out nighttime alcohol, can be a powerful way to protect your brain and your future. Let's take a moment to look back at what we've covered. First, processed meats, full of sodium and harmful preservatives, silently raising blood pressure during sleep. Then, instant noodles and packaged meals loaded with salt and empty carbs, spiking blood sugar and stressing your system overnight. Next, full-fat dairy, like cheese, sneaking in saturated fat and sodium that inflames arteries. Then sugary cereals and diet bars, disrupting blood sugar and damaging your sleep quality. And finally, alcohol, the most deceptive of them, inviting poor sleep, pressure fluctuations, and blood vessel strain, all while pretending to relax you. 5 foods, 5 choices. None of them seem extreme, but they add up. And the good news is awareness is powerful. Once you know, you can act. You don't need to live in fear. You just need to be informed and intentional. Because every choice you make, especially in the evening, can either protect your brain or put it at risk. So what can you do instead? Try light whole foods that promote calm digestion and stable blood sugar. A handful of walnuts, a slice of avocado, a small bowl of steamed vegetables, or herbal teas like chamomile or lemon balm. These kinds of choices support your body's natural healing process during the night. They help reduce inflammation, support better circulation, and let your heart rest just like it's supposed to. And here's something else to consider. When you improve your nighttime habits, you don't just reduce your risk of stroke. You often sleep better, wake up clearer, and have more energy during the day. You may even notice your blood pressure improves without major medication changes. That's how powerful food timing and quality can be. We want to hear from you. After hearing these 5 foods, which one shocked you the most? Was there one you've been eating regularly without knowing the risk? Let us know in the comments below. Your insight could help others in this community make better choices too. And if this video opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a loved one, a friend, or anyone over 50 who could benefit from knowing how to protect their health naturally. It could make all the difference. At Clean and Green Tips, we believe that growing older should mean getting wiser, stronger, and more vibrant, not more fragile. And with the right habits, starting with what's on your plate, you absolutely can take control of your well-being. One meal, one night, one step at a time. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.